Welcome to Cooking for Kidney Health, where we teach you how to make delicious kidney-friendly recipes in your very own kitchen. On today's show, Chef George Christopher Pena of Imperfect Pasta LLC prepares an arugula salad, Brussels sprouts, baked salmon, and homemade noodles with a brown butter sauce. Afterwards, renal dietitian Cassie Urbich stops by to teach us the nutritional benefits of this dish. Let's eat.
I will be doing a demonstration today of a simple meal that you can make at home. Today I'll be doing a 10-minute oven-cooked salmon, Atlantic salmon, and then as well I'll be doing 10-minute oven-baked Brussels sprouts. And then everything is marinated, and I'll tell you everything while I'll be marinating it with while I go. And I'll also be doing a brown butter pasta at the end with some grated Parmesan Reggiano cheese from Kroger. And then right here, I'm also doing the oven-baked Brussels sprouts. And so what I pretty much did is what I had to do with the copper spoon. One of the sides were Brussels sprouts. And pretty much I cut them into halves, cut off the ends, and I put salt generously and enough pepper generously. And then some olive oil, just enough to cover all the Brussels sprouts, so you get every Brussels sprouts nice and crispy. You get that full flavor, and it's a beautiful side that is really easy to make. And then I even leave the little ends too, because those are actually the best part. Chef was like, don't throw those away, because those are actually, one of the best parts, because they get nice and crispy, and it actually goes well with the salmon. Next, how to make the arugula salad. So just a couple handfuls of the baby arugula in there. All right. All right. And then today for the nuts, I'll be using some raw whole pine nuts, which is I work at also the Antonucci's Italian market. So I've been working with a lot of arugula salads mixed with pine nuts and just simple olive oil, black pepper, and salt. And it's just very simple. Today I'm adding some chopped, cubed avocado pieces, and I'm going to put some raw unfiltered honey, the lemon juice, and oregano and olive oil, and then I'm going to use that as my vinaigrette to put on the arugula salad. And it's just a nice simple salad that you can impress your friends with, and they'll be like, wow, this is the best salad I've ever had, and so and whatnot, so they can give them some confidence. So some olive oil, graza. And so you can get this at your local grocery store in town. You can actually get it at the GK downtown grocery store. You can get it at Fresh Time, and then you can also order it online. And then, so next I'll be putting in some salt. Just lightly sprinkle and whatnot. Some black pepper. And then, so typically arugula already has that black pepper kick to it, that taste behind the leafy greens. Aromatic dish, just even without the pepper. And then, so I'll be adding next the pine nuts. If you want a little bit more of a flavorful kick to it, you can toast your pine nuts. You can toast your sliced almonds and whatnot. Any nuts that you like, you can add to it, whatever you like, and whatnot. So I'm going to add the pine nuts. And then next, I'll be doing the vinaigrette. And some olive oil, equal parts. Some honey. It gives it that extra, that flavor of honey, sweetness. Finish at the end with the pine nuts is nice balance with the nuts, the savory, whatnot. Some lemon juice. And then so typically you can put it in a lemon juicer and whatnot, or just like a regular slotted spoon that's holy, so you don't get the seeds in. But if that does happen, it's okay. And just take the seeds out. All right. And then next, what I'm adding is the oregano. That's my personal favorite side. I used to love putting pretty much oregano on everything. People used to ask me if I was Italian and whatnot, but I am Hispanic. I actually do have a couple more nationalities than the average person. But yeah, I just love cooking. I love to infuse different cultures into flavors of dishes that I do. I think it's a beautiful way to give homage and tribute to the people that have been cooking and whatnot. So after that, I'll just mix this up, and then I will put it. If you don't have a bottle at home, you can go to the Gordon's Food Service and probably get a plastic bottle with a nice little tip to have at home. It's an excellent, just nice buddy that you can have at home. You put in the fridge, and just in case you do have a big party, you can just put one of these guys. And you only need about like this much, and that will last you about like a week or so. Yeah, yeah. And so just little places like that can make you, pretty much be a personal chef at home for your family. And so you don't have to go break the bank. All right, and once that's done, put it in your bottle, shake it up generously, make sure all of the salt, the black pepper, and olive oil and honey mixed together. And then once that's done, you can grab your avocado. Avocados are a nice addition to any diet. It's nice and healthy. It's a nice green. It's fresh. But yeah, just a nice addition to really any dish. You can save some, make some guacamole at home, or just put on some toast in the morning. It's a nice brunch. And that you can tell, well, like one of these is like nice and fresh, nice and ripe. This is a good one. The culinary world has blessed me today with some fresh avocados, so thank you, Brendan. And then typically I take the seed out, use your knife. The easiest way to get it so you're not like messing with the seed too much. You can also save the seed and grow your own avocados at home. But yeah, so pretty much what the people do in the restaurants, typically how they put it on your like toast in the morning for brunches, they just thinly slice. But today we'll actually just be cubing it up. So I'll just be use a spoon, just putting it in the salad. And then the last thing, I'll just do the vinaigrette. Just pour it on there. And then next, I'll be mixing it. So pretty much you can just, pretty much everyone at home just pretty much has tongs. And so what I'll be doing is just mixing it around, make sure everything gets a nice coat of that vinaigrette, mixed in with the salt, pepper, oregano, and honey, and the pine nuts too. And the avocado is just going to go really well with today's dish. Or it's just like a nice salad that you can add like chicken, salmon, steak, if you want a little bit more heartier. All right, and then that's pretty much it. So I put the salmon in the oven. I made the marinade with some lemon juice on the salmon, and then I put some raw unfiltered honey on it, along with some oregano, and then some sage and some basil from Hungry Dog Farm. I made a pasta ball dough already. It is just a simple half batch recipe. The recipe that I learned is like a 3-pound recipe, so this is just a half batch, and so this will make 9 portions. And it's made with some double O flour, semolina. So I use some of the Graza olive oil, the sizzle, and then what else? Salt. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then the egg yolks. But yeah, so this is the pasta ball dough. It's a nice, beautiful yellow color. It's just the egg yolks. And yeah, it's just really beautiful. And so I wrapped it around the saran wrap. And it takes me for the half batch about 10 minutes to knead out the dough and whatnot. So you really want to get in to the dough and everything like that to make sure you have a nice congealed ball. And then so I put it in the fridge, and my timer is actually going off. So I only put it in the fridge for about 25 minutes. Wrap your pasta ball, and once you do that, you take it out. I'll be showing you how I roll out the pasta dough. And then so typically what I like to do is I like to lay my base down my table with some of the double O flour that you can get at the store, and then some of the semolina, and then this just typically helps it to not stick. And still, if your pasta is still like wet, add more flour, and if it's too wet, just add more flour. And then if it's too dry, add more egg yolks to get it that typical feel. So you'll want to get a nice feel for the pasta, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it and whatnot. Yeah, and so the flour I'm using today, you can also get at the Antonucci's Italian Market. It's a nice Italian company, Caputo. But also that flour over there, you can also get at Kroger. It's a nice double O flour as well too, and then the semolina as well too. So next I'll be doing all right. So you'll get a nice, beautiful color finish. It won't be any flour you'll see. It's just that typical yellow that you see and whatnot. And then next, just put it in a square ball. And then this is the typically what I did when I worked at Copper Spoon. This is what I'd be doing. I started finishing the pasta I actually didn't make the pasta dough ball just because I was like, I thought it took really long, but it actually doesn't. It was just like the amount of pasta that we were making. We were making enough for a whole night for a restaurant. And that 3 pounds pasta that I was making, it made 17 portions. And that 17 portions usually went in like that in like about 2 hours. And we did like a nice lobster pasta with reduced wine and whatnot. And it was just a nice light sauce with the lobster and the chives and the pea shoots. And it was just a beautifully done dish. And then, but yeah, like I like to get my microgreens if you want to level up your dishes. I get my microgreens from something with Better Than Beth. Beth is a nice local farmer that we're using her microgreens that you can get at the GK downtown grocery store. She's really nice, beautiful, intelligent, knowledgeable farmer about her greens. I typically like to use the rainbow mix. It's like a mixture of like a little bit of every green, and it's a beautiful finisher. If you use it, people will be like, man, there's something when I used about the microgreens, they were just infatuated with the dish. They're like, what did you put in there? I was like, it was just the microgreens. So that's something if you're with some friends and family, they'll just love you even more for that. And so the next step, I got it into like a nice little flat piece right here. And then so just put it through. And then so it'll roll out right here. And then so typically I'll do it about a couple of times just to make sure that it is even and it is everything, all the flour and everything's ingrained. And then you'll make a little square and then you'll put that right back into the roller. And then so as you can see, it's getting a little bit better. You'll want that nice that slap with it and whatnot, so you can like really just get in there and whatnot. And then I typically put just a little bit of flour and I rub it down to make sure it doesn't tear in the process, because I will be putting it through the rolling machine 8 times. And so and the higher the number, the thinner of the pasta that you'll get. Next, so typically the tagliatelle will be like a nice skinny noodle and whatnot. So typically if you like skinnier noodles, you can cut it thin. You can do spaghetti. They'll just take you a little bit longer. But typically, if you like the noodles a little bit fatter, there's a style of noodles called pappardelle. It's a nice noodle that can really get like a nice ragu sauce, some short braised beef, and bolognese. And so today I'll do it just a little bit thicker today, just so everybody gets the idea of the pasta, how delicate, fresh, just the pasta is. And by just respecting the pasta and all the love that you put in the pasta. And then next, I'll just put a little bit more semolina just to make sure it all separates. And then next, this is the fun part, this is actually the soothing part. It just falls apart. And as you can see, and then pretty much that is it. Like, there you go. You have fresh, handmade, hand-cut pasta. And then I will generously season your water. Just a nice salted pasta water. You don't have to worry about putting too much because the water will be ingrained, the salt will be ingrained in the water. And then sometimes you can even add a little bit of olive oil just to get that extra takes that extra kick of what Italians do. And then once this gets to a boil, I will put the pasta in, and then from there, today, while that's boiling, I am using Kerrygold butter. It's a nice Irish butter that I like to use. It's one of my favorites. You don't have to use Irish butter. You can just use regular butter from the store. But for me, I'm a little bit bougie, and I like some nice butter. So just put the butter. I use salted. You can use unsalted and then add your salt in after if you'd like. If you don't like too much salt, or if you can't have that much salt. And then so pretty much put the pot on high heat. And so, yeah, I don't know if you can hear the butter, but it's on a nice high heat, so it gets browned down pretty fast. And it's something that can typically, you can set it and then walk away for like 2 minutes, and then when you come back, it'll be like pretty much the butter will be not sticks anymore, and it'll be almost like that clarified look of like just pure water. So pretty much I just whisk it enough. So I'll mix it until it starts turning lightly brown. And then when it turns lightly brown, you'll get some of that, it'll be like a nutty smell. And that nutty smell will be your pretty much tipping point of being like, okay, hey, chef, it's time to turn off the stove and take it off the stove, and then just mix it from there. Don't be afraid if you actually get a little bit of like brown pieces inside the pan, the pot. Don't worry about that. Those actually little brown pieces are actually little pockets of flavor that can be really tasted throughout any dish. And then so now I will be plating. So typically, if you want to make it look nice, I use my ladle spoon, and I typically just twist it up, put it in there. I mean, if you're just doing it at home, if you're just doing it for yourself, you can just slap it right on the plate. Next, I'll be taking out the salmon. So as you can see, it's beautifully done and nice and crispy. Someone had mentioned earlier that looks like Thanksgiving dinner. It's perfect time for Thanksgiving dinner. It's about to come up. And even if you're just by yourself, it's just a nice meal that you can generally just be thankful for. Today I'm using my fish spatula from Meeson. It's what I've been using today, all my knives and whatnot. I love Meeson. They're nice, affordable knives that you can buy. And so I'll just make a nice little plate right now, just so for example. It's beautifully done. And then next, I'll take some of the Brussels. And then, last but not least, I will just add my sage. And there you have it. Just a beautifully done dish. Got your salmon with the cranberry celebration salad on top with that fully flavor. You got your Brussels sprouts right here. And then finish your handmade, handcrafted, hand-cut, fresh, imperfect pasta.
I really like that we demonstrated today how to do the balanced plate method, right? So we have a carbohydrate component, and today our carbohydrate is coming from the pasta. Pasta like this, or really any carbohydrate product, is going to provide our body with fantastic energy, and is something that our body really needs. I know it's very popular these days to take a low carbohydrate approach, but I would encourage you, especially for patients with CKD and dialysis and transplant, to really incorporate those carbohydrates, especially those fiber-rich carbohydrates like we saw with the pasta meal today. I also love that we have a great representation of the vegetable options. So we had the arugula salad and we had the Brussels sprouts today. That's really going to provide a lot of those micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals that our body really needs, especially for renal patients. And then we also had a fantastic source of protein coming from the salmon. So salmon is really fantastic because it has omega-3 fatty acids, and the type of omega-3 fatty acids in the fatty fish is EPA and DHA, which we know are fantastic for all people, but especially patients on dialysis and with CKD. This is really important because it can help lower triglyceride levels, and it also has cardiometabolic benefits for dialysis patients specifically. So our recommendation is to incorporate fatty fish 2 to 3 times a week, and salmon is a fantastic option. And I love the way that it was baked today, which has great flavor and is easy to prepare. Other great options are tuna, especially those canned tuna options are really great, especially if you're on the go. One thing to note is that salmon or other fatty fishes tend to be higher in potassium. In today's salmon, there's about 300 milligrams in each serving, which is definitely feasible to incorporate into your plan. Just check with your medical team about your potassium restriction specifically. 2,000 milligrams per day is a very common potassium restriction, but it's good to just touch base to see what your team recommends for you. There's a few other ingredients in today's meal that were a little bit higher in potassium, specifically the avocado and the Brussels sprouts. So if you have a very strict potassium restriction, you may want to swap these out. Good swaps would be switching the Brussels sprouts for something like broccoli, or you could add some additional olive oil to the salad for some healthy fats in lieu of the avocado. However, many patients, especially those with early stages of CKD and those with transplants, don't need to restrict potassium, which can open up a ton of different food options for you. So it's always great to get clarity on whether your team recommends a potassium restriction for you specifically. But again, today, I love the options that we incorporated, showing how we can get great flavor from those herbs and spices instead of adding as much salt, and showing that we can get fantastic nutrition from fresh ingredients in not that much time. So I really hope that you try this meal today with the salmon, the arugula salad, the Brussels sprouts, and the homemade pasta that our chef showed us. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And I'm so glad that you were able to join us to see how you can cook a delicious and nutritious kidney-friendly recipe.